The sun dipped low over the rolling plains, casting long golden shadows across the vast expanse of the desert ranch. Dust swirled in the fading light, carried on a gentle breeze that carried with it memories of home. John Hale rode alone, his hat pulled low over his brow, the reins of his horse held loosely in one calloused hand. It had been years since he'd last set foot on the land his father had entrusted to him and, more importantly, the land he had built with his own hands. But the letters he had received told a story that no man could ignore. His younger brother, Daniel, had betrayed him, claiming ownership of the ranch and forcing out the Apache women who had shared their lives with him. John's heart throbbed with a mixture of anger, sorrow, and disbelief. He had always believed family was sacred, a bond stronger than blood or property. Yet here he was, returning not as a conqueror, but as a man stripped of certainty, unsure of how much had been lost and whether forgiveness was even possible. His mind wandered to the Apache women, Lena, Ayanna, and Naya, whose laughter once echoed through the ranch's timbered halls, whose hands had tilled the soil with love, whose presence had softened the rugged edges of his life. They had been more than companions, they were family. And now, he feared, they were gone. As his horse's hooves thudded against the dirt path, John's thoughts were interrupted by the sight of smoke rising from the western edge of the property. Alarm prickled at the back of his neck. Something was wrong. He spurred his horse onward, the terrain familiar yet alien under the weight of betrayal. When he reached the ranch house, he found it deserted, doors swinging on their hinges, the scent of charred wood lingering in the air. The stables were empty, the fields uncared for, crops half-grown and wilting under the neglect. And there, at the far end of the property, 3 small figures emerged from the shadows, his brother Daniel and the 3 Apache women he had cast out. Daniel's face twisted into a sneer, his eyes avoiding John's, as though shame could be hidden behind arrogance. "I told you, John," Daniel said, voice low and sharp. "This place is mine now. I've done what had to be done. You were gone for too long, chasing your foolish ideals." John felt the sting of betrayal cut deeper than he expected. But when his gaze fell upon Lena, Ayanna, and Naya, he saw not fear or resentment, but a quiet dignity. Their eyes met his, and in them was a silent plea, not for vengeance, but for understanding, for protection, for hope. It was in that moment that John realized the true fight was not against his brother, but against despair. He dismounted, his boots crunching on the dry earth, and approached them slowly. "You don't have to stay here if you don't want," he said gently, keeping his anger in check. "But I can make this right. I'll make it right for all of us." The women's faces softened, relief and disbelief mingling in their expressions. John extended his hand to them, not as a rescuer, but as a brother, as a friend, as someone who understood the weight of displacement and injustice. Daniel scoffed and took a step forward, but John's gaze was steady, unyielding. "I won't fight you, Daniel. Not like that," John said. "But I will protect what's right. And I will make amends where wrong has been done." The wind rustled the tall grasses, carrying John's words across the ranch, over the hills, and into the horizon, a promise as enduring as the land itself. Over the following weeks, John set about restoring the ranch, but not with anger or bitterness. He invited Lena, Ayanna, and Naya back, not as servants or dependents, but as partners. Together, they repaired the fences, planted new crops, and brought life back to the neglected land. Neighbors who had once whispered about the scandal of Daniel's betrayal now watched in awe as the ranch bloomed anew, a testament to resilience and the power of compassion. Daniel, meanwhile, found himself watching from a distance, his pride warring with a growing realization. He had sought control and dominance, but in doing so, he had abandoned the very essence of what made the ranch a home. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and crimson, he approached John quietly. I was wrong," he admitted, voice trembling. "I let greed blind me, and I hurt those who didn't deserve it. Can you forgive me?" John studied his brother for a long moment, the weight of betrayal still heavy, yet tempered by a profound understanding. Forgiveness was not weakness, he knew, it was the act of reclaiming peace, of refusing to let resentment fester. He placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder, firm and reassuring. "I forgive you, Daniel," he said. "But the work doesn't end here. You have to help, to learn, to care. That's the only way we move forward." In the months that followed, Daniel became part of the healing, not the hurting. He worked alongside John and the Apache women, learning to respect the land, to honor the bonds of trust he had once shattered. And in that labor, something extraordinary happened. The ranch became more than property, it became a symbol of reconciliation, a place where humanity triumphed over greed, where kindness mended fractured hearts, where love restored what violence had tried to destroy. One autumn evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, John stood on the porch of the restored ranch house, Lena by his side, Ayanna and Naya laughing softly in the distance, and Daniel quietly tending to the horses. The fields were lush, the air filled with the scent of ripening crops and wildflowers. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying a melody of forgiveness, resilience, and hope. John closed his eyes and breathed deeply, feeling the weight of the past lift from his shoulders. He had returned to a home broken and empty, yet he had rebuilt it into something greater than before, a sanctuary of trust, compassion, and unwavering humanity. And in that moment, he understood the most profound truth of all. A home is not defined by walls or fences, nor by deeds of deceit. A home is defined by the hearts that dwell within it, by the hands that labor with love, by the willingness to forgive and to give second chances. The ranch was no longer a symbol of betrayal, it was a testament to what humans can achieve when they choose kindness over cruelty, generosity over greed, and empathy over indifference. John looked out over the horizon, where the last light of the day kissed the earth in a warm embrace. He knew the journey ahead would not be without challenges, but for the first time in years, he felt an unshakable peace. The past had tested him, had tried to break him, yet it had also taught him the immeasurable value of compassion, the transformative power of forgiveness, and the enduring strength of family, chosen and born alike. As night fell, the ranch glowed softly under the light of the stars. Laughter echoed across the fields, the gentle murmur of the wind carried tales of redemption, and hearts once heavy with sorrow now pulsed with hope. The ranch, the women, the family, everything had been restored, not through vengeance or conquest, but through the quiet, steadfast insistence that love and kindness could overcome even the deepest betrayals. And so, under the canopy of the vast, eternal sky, John Hale understood something timeless, that the true measure of a man, or a home, was not in what he could take, but in what he could give. And in giving, he discovered a joy far richer than any inheritance, a legacy far deeper than any land. The ranch had been saved, yes, but more importantly, so had the hearts that would dwell there, forever bound by resilience, compassion, and the enduring power of humanity.